Hi everybody, it's Tom again. I got a couple requests for summarizing a boiler, and yes, I realize it's October. I'm a little late to the game, but what I wanted to show you what I do in the summertime to get my boiler ready for technically the winter for the boiler, where it's going to be off for quite a number of months and it's not going to be used. So what I do with my boiler is I take everything out of the boiler. I've cleaned it, I've scraped it, and I take out the refractory brick, reaction chamber brick, also inside the boiler, the other type of fire brick that's inside it, I've taken that out. I've gone through, I've looked at all the brick. I make sure there's no cracks, and yes, more than likely, I have 2 or 3 reaction chamber bricks that have broken apart out of all of them. And one of the things I look at now, so this is a couple years old, not of use, but it's actually 1 year of use. I keep it as a spare, but every 2 years I replace these reaction chamber bricks. So you're going to notice as time goes by and the fire burns down through, you'll see it eats away the sides. Well, that increases the gap, which means more airflow, more heat, and so over time it starts to get larger. So I'm guessing, speculating, but it just doesn't seem like that's going to create the best efficiency for the boiler. So what I've done is every 2 years I replace those bricks, and then the other maintenance bricks are every few years every year I look at them, but every few years you should just replace a fire brick. They're cheap, they're not expensive. So inside the boiler, what I've done, again, this is for the summertime. I've taken everything out, I've oiled it all down. I use WD-40, and basically you're spraying the whole inside of the boiler, up inside here, the cavities, everything's scraped and clean, the charge tube, the rods, everything's been cleaned out. Also on the sides here, you're going to use a vacuum and brushes along the sides inside the tubes of the 1450 where you can't access those plates. I've cleaned those all out. Again, shop back them out with a brush. Inside there, boiler brushes, everything. So in the back, what I've done, the other part for summarizing the boiler is you got to take this fan off, and there's actually grease points on the side of the fan that when you unbolt this, you'll see little weeping holes on the side here. They tell you in the instructions you should lube that once a year. Let it sit over the summertime after you've lubed it up. More summarizing, clean both reaction chamber tubes, the primary and the secondary. This is the aftermarket tube I've used. This has been fantastic that I had built for me to model after what Central Boiler has made, so-called their stainless steel. Well, this is hospital grade stainless steel. It's been almost impervious to the creosote that's collected inside there. I've never had an issue since I've switched over to the higher grade stainless steel than what's been shipped to me from CB. So that's all been cleaned out. WD-40 all inside the firebox. I check all my gaskets. I've checked the other gaskets in here. I've taken all the brick out. Again, now we're in October, but in June this was soaking wet with a WD-40. The other thing I do is I put a basic timer, not a basic, but a heavy-duty Intermatic timer on here. And what I do is I exercise my pump every day for an hour. That way it just keeps the water flowing. In the past, my rep has told me to just turn it on every so often, but now it goes on every single day. The heat exchangers, I'm not going to take these off, but those have all been brushed out. Again, WD-40 inside here. I can't stress enough, anything that's been metal, that's been touched by creosote, has been soaked with WD-40 for the winter, i.e. summer. The other thing I do is I put on a rain cap up top, and it's basically a bucket on top of there, as you can see. And how I get it up there? Well, I got a pool cleaning pole, and I basically duct tape some little small rod, and I make a etch in the top, and I put a piece of string and I pulled it up there and bring it on top of the boiler for the exhaust there. So it covers any water coming down inside here. So that's basically my summarizing of the boiler. You've got my number on the comments before. I've had other calls from you guys out there. Feel free to call me and help you out as best I can. Now I'm getting it ready for use. It's still in the mid 60s here in Rhode Island. It's not cold enough to turn the boiler on yet. So what I'm doing now today is just going through, make sure I haven't left any parts out. Going to put the new parts in, brand new rope inside the reaction chamber for the brick area. Put my brick back inside, get it all ready to go. Flush out any spiders. Make sure there's no mice, evidence of mice over the summertime. I do put mouse bait inside the boiler area. So if mice do come around, they're not chewing on my wiring for the boiler. I had that happen with one of my first pellet boilers from Central Boiler. It was a disaster. So getting back over here. So I'm going to put the new parts back in here today. I'll still coat another coat of WD-40. We probably have another 15 to 20 days before I have to start the boiler up, given the temperatures outside. Going to wash down the boiler, clean the creosote off, wash the top, make sure it's all the cobwebs are out, ready to go. But just wanted to also let you know, the last thing is inside here, take an air chuck inside here, blow any leaves out. There's weeping holes down here for water that could get inside here. If it gets clogged with dirt and crap, you're gonna start to rust out. So what I just did a little while ago is I took my air chuck and went through the whole thing and cleaned all the spider webs out, any junk or stuff like that. During the summer too, any creosote will start to flake off and drop below inside the area. Again, take the air chuck, blow it all out. It's a good time to do that right now before you get started. And that's it. Any questions, you have my number on the other posts, and feel free to call me.